What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Reserves Radio. Uh, Full transparency, this is the second time we've recorded an episode this week for Sunday. We kind of screwed up on the recording, and we basically wasted like an hour and a half of our lives on Thursday night. So,
I don't know if we screwed up or if
well,
Craig. It's never happened before.
yeah, we probably should have thought, hey, something just went wrong. It
That's
made
right.
a noise.
It made a noise.
So, but for the sake of being an optimist, when we recorded, game one hadn't finished, so now we at least have game one that we can include in the talk about, and that'll make more sense relative to the series we're talking about. Before we do that, though, we are going to do a question of the week because we've been really mad about those lately. And I'm gonna switch it up because we did one on the last episode, but it wouldn't be as fun to do it that way. So what is a scar that you have, and what is a story about it? Like, how did you get it?
Okay. So I'll go first.
Shoot.
So I have a scar on my right calf. We were on our boat when I was a kid, and we went to this, like, not uncharted island, but this island in, like, the middle of the river, kind of, right? It's really small. And we were walking through the water, and there was, like, a broken tree stump that was under the water, but, like, super sharp, and I drug my calf around it. And I just have like it looks like claw marks on my calf. I've had that since I was like 6.
Mine is so. This when growing up, my house had a full bar in it.
Of course it did. This
Like
explains so
stools.
much.
Listen, shut up. So bar stools, all that, whatever. When I was like, I want to say 6, for whatever reason, I was up in the middle of the night. Like, I woke up and decided I'm going downstairs. And I decided to get on one of those stools and spin really, really, really fast, as, kids are they're wanting to do. And, like, those things could spin really fast. Like, they're bar stools, right? I went flying off of it, cracked my head on the metal piece on the bottom of it, and on my right eyebrow, I now have a little scar that, thankfully, my eyebrow like actually hides it. But like, I was really close to probably losing an eye. We don't think about that. It was a really good spin, though, for those wondering. Great. Angelo, you?
I also have a scar just under my right eye, and I was I forgot what I was playing. It might have been tag or something with my cousin, and I sprinted full sprint, and I was looking behind me, and I did not see what was in front of me, and I sprinted full sprint into the edge of a dresser, and I busted my eye open.
So Austin's is definitely like the least violent of all of them.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I was just waiting in the
Ours
water.
were head injuries. Ours were head injuries. It kind of explains a lot.
Yeah, sure.
So before we start talking about the NBA Finals, which is why we're all here, this is what the whole season's about. This is the lead up. We're going to talk about stupid stuff that has nothing to do with that. So, first we'll start with Hemi Buckets as a trademark. Jimmy Butler has filed a trademark for Hemi Buckets, likely a clothing brand. Are either of you going to buy yourself a Hemi shirt?
One, of course, and two, Timmy,
Nope.
I have some other trademarks and phrases that I want to run by you. I have now used the phrase the Himinning. I have used Timmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of other ones, but you can take those, Jimmy Butler if you want, and I will not be mad.
Mm-hmm. Austin, will you buy a Hemi Bucket shirt?
No,
Yeah, no. That's
Timmy Buckets is dumb.
it's very dumb.
Wow.
Now let's talk about Josh Hart. That's a new sentence.
That is new sense.
Let's talk about Josh Hart. That's probably never been said on a podcast before.
No, it
We're
definitely has
breaking
when he was
news
with
on.
the Lakers.
I don't think so.
I
I
think
don't think
so.
anyone was like
Remember when
specifically.
Josh Hart was the truth on the Lakers?
I remember when the Lakers were really bad and someone had to score. So Josh Hart is a new father. Congrats to him. Like, it's cool. That's awesome. Whatever. He decided to tweet out for whatever reason, asking for a friend. Have any of y'all ever tried your significant other's breast milk? I don't really have anything to like talk about. I wanted to bring that up for posterity's sake. Just cause.
I may be wrong, but I think he tweeted afterwards and said it tastes like almond milk.
Okay, that
Interesting.
makes the story so much worse.
I mean, almond milk isn't half bad.
Okay, almond milk probably isn't, but it's still weird.
You know.
No, there is no No, we're not having this conversation. I regret this immediately. Donovan Mitchell feels like he was snubbed for All NBA, because I believe he was All NBA second team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what he said was standards change every year, like what we're quantifying as a All NBA talent or MVP or even going as far as like defensive player of the year. Some years, oh my God, he got a lot of blocks. That's important. Other years, oh, it's about the defensive presence. We change every year what quality we're looking for when it comes to these awards. Do you agree with that? Because obviously, by what I've been saying, I agree with that. I think that there should just be a hard and fast metric. Who was the best player?
I don't know. It's because different people value things differently. Like, when has the award been consistent? I guess would
Never.
be my. Okay, so then
But should it
he
be, is the question.
probably not, because if I'm not mistaken, it's voted by people, correct?
It is.
So people have biases, and whether or not you agree with those biases is one thing or another. But that's just the way it works. The
But
MVP is the
I guess
same way, and
more my suggestion, I don't want to call it a suggestion, but it is, would then be is that there's criteria you have to meet to be eligible for one of these all NBA teams, all defensive teams, awards in general. And then you're put in a pool to receive a vote. Like, there's no reason Tyrese Halliburton should have received an all defensive team vote. Like, I just think that if you close the pooling a little bit, it might help in the long run. Also, just had a weird bout of deja vu. Feel like we've been here before. That's weird. Um, Austin, do you think that there should be more of a standard when it comes to awards, or should we just keep doing it the way we're doing it? Because like it works. I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, yes, Hall of Fame careers could be impacted, but if you're gonna make the Hall of Fame, you're gonna make the Hall of Fame, whether you're an all defensive team or not.
yeah.
I mean, to me, basketball is just awards in general. It's just not well thought out, I guess. Like, like y'all said, the qualifications change every year. Like, I'm going to, I can't believe I'm doing this, go back on my decision for the Jokic Embiid. Nikolai deserves it, right?
Absolutely.
He does deserve it. After watching him in these playoffs, he's kind of convinced me that he deserves it. And the fact that a simple narrative or Kendrick Perkins, of all people, saying vote for Embiid can change the award that a player can get, I think that's kind of dumb. I don't know how they do it in the NFL.
Yes
I
and no.
think, is NFL done by coaches and peers? Angelo, do you know?
I do not know that off the top of my head. I believe it's also journalism, but I'd have to research that. But I mean, at the same point, I mean, have you watched 12 Angry Men? That's kind of the basis for a lot of American society. Like
Right, but
that's
should
one
it
person.
be in the
Yes.
context of entertainment?
Yes.
That doesn't
See,
make
I
sense.
think, and we're not going to go into it, but I think the government has more safety procedures in place for like the public opinion going overboard, but the NBA doesn't. It's whoever the public says is going to win it is going to win it, which may
Right.
not always deserve it.
And that's what's kind of asinine about the whole situation because, as I said, Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now. That's a fact. And we can sit here and say, well, he's not going to win it because the narrative, he's not going to win it because voter fatigue. That shouldn't exist. Most valuable player should go to the most valuable player that season. That's just so. Yeah, I
Has it
think
existed all through time since the NBA started?
okay, but so let's. I'm not getting political because I was about to get the alcohol was letting me finish a thought, and I was gonna say let's go back to 1950 and ask if we should
No,
just
no,
keep
no,
doing things the way we're doing it.
no, no,
Just
no.
because we've always done it a certain way does not mean it's the best way to do it. That's what I'm asking. Should it change? Because you're absolutely right. That's not how it's always been. But should it change? And I think the answer is yes. I think that
No.
why? Like, why do you not
What are
want
you
to?
gonna change it to? Like, people should be able to. It's an entertainment product. People should be able to look at the product, have their own opinions on something. Just because just because you believe Nikola Jokic is the undisputed MVP, does not mean that the voters that went into voting for the MVP felt that way. It's let them pick who they want to pick.
That's no.
Yes.
I think it should be metrics driven. You're talking about
No.
who is the most valuable player. That should be who is
If
the
you
most
go by
valuable
metrics,
player.
then you get then you get statements like Nikola Jokic is the best defensive center in the NBA, and you know that's not true. So no,
No, if you go by metrics, he's an underrated defender. He's not like
Rehn, you had an entire episode where you were like, you know who is it? Who doesn't have the best defensive box plus minus? Joel Embiid.
yeah.
Like, come on now.
Also, I'd just like to point out Angelo, like I'm just gonna go on record, is the embodiment of the caps lock key. We have established
It's
that.
fine.
No, like box plus minus is one metric we use to judge a player's effectiveness at stopping the other team from scoring when they're on the floor. It's not a be all end all for defensive acumen. The point is,
I don't
Joel
think there's
Embiid
a be all
won.
end all for defensive acumen though.
I
It's
think it's the whole picture. And that's what I'm saying is we should be looking at the whole picture. We should not be looking at narratives. This isn't a narrative driven thing. This is not the NBA presented by Disney. This is not a storyline.
it is actually.
It shouldn't be. This isn't wrestling, Angelo. Like we don't have Jimmy Butler walking out to different music every night and
He probably should.
staging his jump shots. Like it's not like, oh hey, when I get over here, you're gonna go to the left and I'm going to the right. This isn't choreographed. This is who is better night in, night out. That's something that the eye test can tell you. That's something that advanced metrics can tell you. I know you don't like advanced metrics, but they're important. Why are they important? Because we had people saying Nikola Jokic didn't deserve MVP this year because he's never done anything in the playoffs. And then he goes on this playoff run. You're going to tell me that he's not the best player in the NBA? That Joel Embiid, with that terrible elimination game performance, is the best player in the NBA? Absolutely not. That's the point I'm making, is we should be basing this on who is the best players in the NBA, and they should be the ones voted on. Should Donovan Mitchell have had a case for the first team?
I mean,
Possibly.
you could argue, yeah.
I think you could put him over Shea, but I'm not mad at Shea getting on the team.
No, it's not a bad call. Like,
But overall, I think that we do need a set in stone standards. What
no.
are we looking for? Because otherwise you're going to have years when someone's like, oh, that guy scored a bunch. He didn't do anything else, but he scored a lot. That's the MVP. Basketball's not won
That's
just
fine.
by scoring. No, it's not. That's terrible. If you
It's
give me
fine.
a player that contributes defensively, offensively, he's getting points, he's getting assists, he's getting rebounds, he's getting block shots. That's more valuable to me than you went out and you dropped 30 every night. Way to go. This guy dropped 24 points, 10 assists. The bare minimum he just assisted his team or helped his team, 50 points?
50.
That's how much he generated.
24 and 10?
So 10. No, that would be 20.
20 Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you had me questioning my math there. Shut up. Because each assist is worth a minimum of how many points?
2, yeah. Okay.
2 points. So I'm saying at a bare minimum, he went out and he assisted on 50 points. Average scoring in the NBA is what, 109?
Yeah, something around there.
So that's half of his team's points. And you're going to tell me that guy that went and got 30 is more valuable because he scored 30? No, that's stupid. Base it on who is the most valuable player. We have metrics that tell us who is the most valuable player. That's all I'm saying. We spent too much time on that. Now for a subject we're going to spend no time on. So Adam Silver was asked about Ja Morant.
I'm Demetrius Stout. You guys got it.
So basically what he said is a bunch of new information was uncovered. They're not going to announce the suspension until after the finals because they don't want to take attention away from the players who've earned the right to be in this finals. Which I think it's fair, but like don't drop the teaser. Like it's like you're like teasing a mixtape you're dropping. Like, oh, after the finals, just wait. But it's kind of ominous sounding because that leads me to believe this might be a legitimate suspension. So I'm gonna set the over under here at 40 games. Are you taking the over or are you taking the under? Because to me, let's look at a few things that happened. So he unfollowed his best friend on social media, and he removed like all the information for that guy's company out of his bio, blah blah blah, whatever. So let's say, just hypothetically, this guy flipped and went to the NBA and said, "Hey, you remember that incident with the Pacers? Yeah, Ja was pointing a gun at the team." If that happened, if the NBA has that in their vault and they're not going to let that get to the public, but if they have that, or if the gun that Ja's flashing is an unregistered gun, or like the way that Silver worded it, that more came to light, leads me to believe this might be worse than even we are thinking. And as someone that was on the tinfoil hat when it came to Demetrius, that scares me. And I'm going to take the over. I think we might be seeing almost a full season, if not a full season.
That's what I was gonna say too. I think it's over. I think that this
Done.
is not like done, but like over 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that this is the NBA's chance to try to
David Stern this.
Yeah, pretty much. To show that they have a backbone, because people have been criticizing them for their mistreatment or for their treatment of like the domestic abuses and all those other things.
Which, real quick, because we didn't talk about this, and I just remember that Miles Bridges got a 30-game suspension. They're factoring the entire last season into that suspension, so he's getting an entire season plus 30 games. So Miles Bridges will return to the NBA at some point next season if a team signs him. Just throwing that out there. So
I think he's on the team.
Is he? Did he sign? Because I know the Hawks or Hornets waived him, right?
No, I think he's still on the Hornets waived him, but he might be back with them.
No,
I don't know. I'll double check.
He's a free
He's
agent.
free agent.
Check, yeah. So
Okay.
that's the baseline. So domestic violence, which obviously serious, huge issue. Honestly,
Oh
probably
God.
too few of games. Like, he should be done for his career because he beat a woman. Like, that's unacceptable for
The
any.
Grizzlies are working him out.
Are you kidding me?
No, I see a post. I don't know how
Are,
truthful it is, but Grizzly Star works out with Miles Bridges. So it looks like Jaren Jackson worked out with his former teammate. Sorry.
I swear to God.
And Miles Bridges is only out 10 games next season. That's it.
Oh. Well, so anyway, that's the baseline. A whole season plus 10 games. I thought it was 30. I read 30 earlier, but
Well, it was 30,
okay.
but they gave him credit for the 20 that he missed last season or this season, quote unquote.
Didn't I thought he missed the whole season.
No.
Shows how much I pay attention to the Hornets.
Don't blame you.
So that's the baseline. You beat someone, you get 30 games. That should be more, but that's the baseline. So at this point, now you are a star player interfering with the branding of the NBA, and the NBA cares about the NBA's branding. So that's why I'm taking the over. Angelo, what about you?
Oh, Jows, Demetrius out. I'll see you in the next segment.
No. You just take the over, take the under. Which one are you doing?
Taking the much
No
over.
explanation. Much over.
You don't even have to
Cool.
explain it. You can just take the over. A lot of coaching changes and front office changes. Nick Nurse to the 76ers as head coach. Obviously, I like that. I like Nick Nurse. Will he be able to help fix that team? Probably not. That's a whole nother issue. Adrian Griffin, coach of the Bucks. I don't know enough about Adrian Griffin. He was an assistant to Nick Nurse in Toronto. Cool with that. Monty Williams to the Pistons. Again, I don't know if that moves the needle. I think
He could do some good work with Cade, though.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of experience coaching defensive players, so it'll work out. Larry Bird is back in a basketball operations role. He is now a consultant for the Pacers after serving as the head of basketball operations for ever, and then previously as head coach. Not a huge fan of that as a Pacers fan for a multitude of reasons. That man made some really questionable draft picks at his time with the Pacers, and I don't know. Like, he's an all-time great, absolutely one of the best to ever play. Doesn't always mean they're great talent analysts for consulting purposes. Bob Myers stepping down as GM of the Warriors. I think that's good for the Warriors. I think it's the first piece to fall for the end of the dynasty.
Yep.
Which it feels like that's going out just kind of with like a soft little, like, they had the years and now it's just like slowly fading away. Like, they had a decent playoff run, all things considered. Like, they played good. It wasn't just suddenly this season they were, a 20-win team. So we'll see what happens with that roster next year. You guys have anything to add on any of that? Oh, and hold on. Where did Frank Vogel go? That was announced. Phoenix?
Yes.
Phoenix. So Frank Vogel to Phoenix. That's whatever. Like, he's a good defensive coach, which kind of, you don't have the tools there for a defensive coach.
But it may lead them to get the tools. If Phoenix can get the defense, it should be better.
Is Frank Vogel making like roster decisions too?
I would think he would listen at least a little bit to the coach.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think he would get their opinion on things.
Well, that's fair.
Especially if you're willing to pay him 5 years and a whole lot of money.
I mean, none of those are guaranteed. Harden expected to sign a $200 million contract with Houston. That is,
why?
You're paying for the name.
Yep.
It doesn't fit. Like, I guess good for Harden, but that's quickly going to become the worst contract in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves, Lakers are expected to match up to $100 million because he's an RFA.
That'll be the worst contract.
I don't think it'll be the worst.
I don't think so.
I don't think it'll be the worst because there's at least that optimism there, and it's only 100 million. Like we're saying, oh, it's only 100 million, but it's only 100 million.
Is that only 20 million a year? That's I don't know.
Yeah, that's not.
That's NBA starter money, and technically he's starting for the Lakers. So, I mean, there could be worse deals. There's worse deals.
Because it's not like a Timothy Mozgov situation or a Matthew Dellavedova where we're paying them stupid amounts of money. Like 100 million in NBA terms, it really isn't that much. And that's up to. So that's if another team offers that, right? So
Yeah.
I think more realistically, the Lakers are going to look for a contract in the 60 to 70 million range, which I think would be a fair contract for his value and the fact that, like, if you've done what he's done for me, like, sure, I'll pay you. Like, I want you to prove it, but I'll give you that. I wouldn't go much higher than that. I don't think I would go up to 100 million. I think I would say like 80 million is my cutoff, but we'll see. Now to the actual thing we're here for, which was the NBA Finals. So first off, Game 2 is tomorrow night. I thought it was tonight, and I got really excited, and then I
did too.
Tomorrow night, and now I'm sad. Tyler Hero is expected, or potential, I'm not going to say expected and get everyone's hopes up, potentially back tomorrow. With our picks, and I guess this doesn't really impact Angelo, so I will just direct this more to Austin and I. Does Hero move the needle for you at all in terms of changing your mind about your game count or the series outcome? Because I think it might change my game outcome because Tyler Hero can get out there and win you a game. Is he going to be back up to full speed? Absolutely not. He's been out since the first round. But I think that they desperately need someone that can score at a consistent level besides Jimmy. And Hero gives them that. Hero gives them a whole other weapon besides Caleb Martin.
Caleb. I don't think it moves the needle for me at all. I think I just don't think the Heat have the roster to compete. The Nuggets are firing on literally all cylinders, and I don't think a 70% Tyler Hero is going to be that difference maker. I'm still sticking by my Nuggets in 5.
What was the... So let's talk about the efficiency of the Nuggets against the Heat so far. So I don't have the numbers factoring in Game 1, but over the past 2 years, the Nuggets have not lost to the Heat, right? That's a pretty important stipulation. Against the Heat, Jokic is shooting 68% from the field. He's shooting 63% when guarded by Bam. That's what he shoots against the league. So his average is already higher against the Heat in general. Jamal Murray is shooting 65% from 10 feet away from the basket with a defender 2 to 4 feet away from him. That is statistically the least efficient shot in the game, and he's making it look like it's at the rim uncontested. Or not uncontested, but very lightly contested at the rim.
Yeah.
So, Angelo, if you cannot stop Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic from scoring, how can you so confidently say the Heat are winning this series?
So I'm just gonna say this. The totality of the game, do you believe that was the Nuggets running on all cylinders?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Nikola Jokic made 12 shots.
Okay. I was about to say, because if that is it, then yes, I'm very confident in that. Jimmy's a good game away from taking that game. Like, he scored 13. They lost by, what, 10, 11? So,
But it was like the Nuggets clearly pumped the brakes down the line.
that's fair.
Um.
I don't think if you're a Heat's fan and you're saying Jimmy just has to have a good game to win, what? Like that's not a reliable thing. I mean, Jimmy is great. Don't get me wrong. He's
Jimmy having a good game is not a reliable thing?
No.
But if your team can't win because one of your players isn't pulling their weight, you're not a finals team to me.
But it wasn't just Jimmy not pulling his weight. We didn't have a very good game from Gabe Vincent either. Bam had a good game.
The undrafteds.
The undrafteds.
Again, just the people that you're putting your faith in is just not people I'd be comfortable doing it.
In the last 10 games, in Jimmy Butler's last 10 games, 4 of them he didn't score 20 points. That's reliable for you? 60%? Angelo?
I mean, 60% still isn't bad. You don't take those odds?
Do you want to know how many games of the last 10 Nikola Jokic had less than 20?
I'm well aware of what that number is.
It's 0. You want to talk about how many games he had less than 25? It was 2. You want to know how many games he had less than 30? 3.
What about Murray?
That's reliability. I don't have Murray.
How about saying? Well, Murray usually goes nuclear. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Murray, in the last 10, he had 2 games with less than 20, and 2 games with less than 25. So.
Yeah, he usually goes nuclear when he gets over 20. Or. Yeah.
So. Let's not call. You want to talk reliability? That's not reliability. And if that's what you're relying on, if you can only win when one of your pieces is firing, how can you have that confidence that you're going to win this series?
Because you have confidence
like you just
in your guys.
said, but like you just said, the Nuggets weren't firing on all cylinders. And I mean,
Aaron Gordon.
I lost my train of thought there. I'm not gonna lie.
Aaron Gordon held Jimmy because I think Aaron Gordon, from what I watched, Aaron Gordon was on Jimmy most of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Kept him for 6 for 14, 13 points as a whole. If you get that kind of defensive performance from Aaron Gordon every single night, it's going to be very difficult for Jimmy to win. And that's the thing. Like, even if the Celtics win, or the Heat, I was so sure.
No, I thought you were like.
I'm just still shocked that we're at this point. So even if the Heat, win at home, the Nuggets are undefeated at home, and the Heat
For
are
now.
not going. No, the Nuggets are undefeated at home.
For now.
Playoffs don't start till someone loses at home.
Facts.
It's gonna happen as soon as we go back to Miami.
I think it's gonna happen before.
No, Miami will take Game 3.
Even with like Jimmy, so Jimmy had 24 on Game 6 against the Celtics, right? He shot 5 for 21. Yeah, he got 24 points, but that's not reliable. He made 5.
Also, I want to bring something up.
Go for it.
So, I don't know. This is probably arguing more for Angelo's case than the Nuggets case. But did you see the Heat only had 2 free throw attempts the entire game?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they weren't slashing or if the refs just weren't calling. I wasn't watching most of the game. But that is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually the record for the least fouls called in a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Would you shut up? Because let me pull it up real quick because I don't have those numbers right in front of me. So it's
I want to know what the difference was between Nuggets and
20-2.
yikes.
Pretty extreme if you
But
say so myself.
the Nuggets hit more from the field. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, be more disciplined, I guess. Like, it's Angelo that always says we
Be
don't
more
blame
disciplined.
the refs, but he's over here like, like, but Angelo's the
Something's
one.
fishy.
Yeah, but Angelo's also the one that's like, oh, the refs don't decide games, play better. Like, that's an Angelo quote for reals.
Did I blame the refs? I'm just saying
You're sitting here.
that Miami's gonna play better in Game 3.
I can almost see the sweet tea and the oversized hat on you as you're like condescendingly saying, okay. So no, it's the reason the Heat lost this game was not because of the difference in fouls. It was the difference in the fact that Nikola Jokic had 27 points, 14 assists, and 10 rebounds, and Jamal Murray had 26 points and 10 assists.
And your undrafted shot 2 for 23 from 3-point.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. The Heat will play better. The Heat will return.
The Heat might play better, but so will the Nuggets.
We'll see.
You have the top team in the West, which is a much more complicated conference, correct? It's a better overall conference. Don't even try to pretend it's not. The East had the New York Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets, the Miami Heat. Like, these teams wouldn't even sniff the playoffs in the West. You said it yourself, the Nuggets were not firing on all cylinders. You're absolutely right, and they still wiped the floor with the Heat. You're forgetting they won every single quarter except the fourth when they pumped the brakes because there was no point. The Heat were not coming back. What?
I was just looking at this stat from someone, and it says that Strus and Martin, they started the game and shot combined for 5.9% in game 1.
The Heat will return. I'm telling you, this is not as lost of a cause as you think it is.
Yeah, they'll return week 1 of the new season.
Wow.
I'm
just saying, the Himinning will happen, and when it does happen, I will give both of you an opportunity to switch, and if you don't take
the Himinning is game 3. I'm calling it. The Himinning is game 3. They're going to go to Miami. They're going to win big, and then they will
Angelo's
flop.
going to freak out and act like, oh, this is the turning point. This is where the series turns around.
He's going to convert us to the Himinning, or to the... I need to figure out like a religious name for your Himinning.
So
that'll be the next one.
Do you know what the Heat solution to Nikola Jokic was?
Just win, baby.
Haywood Highsmith.
What's that?
Haywood Highsmith.
Haywood Highsmith.
Who?
Do you know who Haywood Highsmith is?
I do, unfortunately.
Do you know who Haywood Highsmith is?
Yes.
Where did he go to college?
I don't know.
You don't know him. He went to Wheeling.
Wheeling.
What's Wheeling?
Right?
Oh, it's a D2 school.
Let me pull up his professional career. Oh my god. Wow.
It's like that SpongeBob meme. Let me pull up his career. You want to see me do it again?
No, there's so many transfers to different minor league teams. It's just confusing. So yeah, Haywood Highsmith from Wheeling. He's the solution to stopping the best player in basketball. Really? Keep in mind, he's 6'5". Still feel confident, Angelo?
Okay.
I
feel very confident.
Okay. Because if you wanted to switch your pick right now, I would let you.
No.
I wouldn't.
Wow.
He's
Don't
gonna
know.
live or die.
He's gonna live or die.
Yep. Just know you're gonna feel the heat.
How can you shoot 0 for 9 on threes? Like at some point, you just have to stop shooting because there were a couple air balls.
Shooter's gonna shoot.
That's not shooter. Caleb Martin went 1 for 7. So, just to clarify, Angelo, you think it's more likely that the role players that have never shot well in their careers but went on a good run, it's more likely for them to return to their above average play than it is for them to return to what they've played for their entire careers. You think that?
Yeah, the Heat got this.
It's not worth arguing anymore.
I don't even know what to say. Because that's just ridiculous. Like I'm far more inclined to believe that Caleb Martin is going to play like Caleb Martin, not like Caleb Martin has been playing. He's going to play like the way he always has played. Your line of thinking is why Timothy Mozgov got the contract he got. It's why Austin Reeves is going to be matched up to $100 million. It's why we're going to say, oh yeah, James Harden, 200 mil, easy. Even though he's not worth that. It's because you think more about what the players have done for you lately than what they are. It's just ridiculous.
It's only ridiculous until it happens.
No, it's ridiculous in just general. I had another thing pulled up and I scrolled past it.
Good job.
That's great. Also, like one thing I do like about Jokic is he was asked if he was the best player on the Nuggets, and he said, "I am some nights, I'm not other nights," and that's just like refreshing.
That's disgusting.
It's refreshing.
That's disgusting.
In fact, I would say it's bussin'.
Not mega bussin'.
It might be mega bussin'. I don't know.
That's the worst thing I think I've ever heard.
So, what is the problem with the Heat in Game 1? So, and that's what we're basing this on because this is a new series. We can't talk about what they did right, what they did wrong against the Celtics because they're playing a different team, right? Did you watch the game, right, Angelo?
What's that?
Did you watch the game? Did you watch Game
Yeah.
1 or did you just
I
catch
watched part of it. I caught part of it, yeah.
So the problem with the Heat in this series, at least in Game 1, and maybe they'll adjust and they might only lose by 5 next time,
This guy.
is they didn't seem to have a plan B because what they were doing worked against the Celtics because the Celtics were not playing good coverage. They kept going to the Max Struces of the world, the Caleb Martins, even though they weren't hitting. There is no backup plan. This is all they've got. Chuck a bunch of threes, hope you hit them. Live and die by the 3.
Yeah.
And you don't think that it's possible that that's not like that's like game planning. So let's say you are a quarterback. All right, we're gonna go football here. Right, you're a quarterback. Okay, you get to practice. I'm the coach. I walk up to you. All right. Only play we're going to practice today is the Hail Mary. We're basing our entire game plan around it. We're just going to throw Hail Marys. Yeah, maybe it works. You get a couple hundred passing yards, a couple touchdowns. Next game, you're probably going to get picked off a few times. Maybe it works again. Who knows? But you don't game plan around the Hail Mary. Right? The Hail Mary is the we're lost. We've got to make a comeback. We've got to try something. Caleb Martin and Max Strus shooting 19 threes is a Hail Mary. What is your backup plan? What is your run game? What is getting back?
Actually, Martin and Strus didn't shoot 19.
And Strus shoot
They shot 11. Caleb Martin only took 2 3-pointers. Are you talking 3-pointers or total field goal?
3-pointers.
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent was 5 for 10.
Okay.
As a team, they actually shot more efficient.
Gabe Vincent had a good game that game, by the way.
The Nuggets.
It's just the everything else.
Caleb Martin went 1 for 7 from 3.
He went 1 for 7. He was 1 for 2 from 3-point.
The thing in front of me says 1 for 7 for 3.
The thing in front of you is wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, that's your game plan, is have role players shoot shots. You should not be game planning that your role players are going to be taking all these shots. So what is your backup plan? What is the back to basics, the run game, the short passes, the just get some yards? Because the Heat don't have it. Is it just to have Jimmy ISO? Throw
Maybe.
Bam in the low post?
Also,
That's
maybe.
terrible. Because if Jokic is struggling, oh, Murray, go get us a bucket. If those two are struggling, oh, no problem. We got Aaron Gordon. We got KCP.
MPJ.
MPJ. Like, the Nuggets are just a better equipped team for this. And yes, we can say the same about the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are a far better team on paper. For whatever reason, was not their year. The Nuggets have not shown any issues whatsoever that says that the Heat's plans are just going to work. They're not going to go shoot 66% from 3 against this Nuggets team, because this Nuggets team knows how to switch. This Nuggets team is going to hit you on every hedge. So no, it's if your game plan is what we've seen so far, the Heat have no chance. If they go back into Denver doing what they did in the last game, and Spoelstra doesn't make a major adjustment to what they're looking for on offense, what kind of shots they're hunting for, this is over in 4. We are seeing this finals end in Miami.
We'll see.
An absolutely epic counterpoint. You have proven me wrong. Thank you.
What do you want me to say? Miami played poorly, especially at the start of that game.
So did the Nuggets. But what's more likely? MPJ is going to play better, or Gabriel Vincent's going to play better? Based on history, who is more likely to get it back? Who is more likely to get it back? Duncan Robinson, who spent half the year as a coach's decision DNP, or Aaron Gordon, who is a legitimate starter? What is more likely, Angelo?
That Miami gets back to form for game 2.
Oh my god. Oh, you're so frustrating.
Take a sip.
No,
Does Rehn have any alcohol left? Because
oh yeah, so much. Don't worry about it.
okay, I'm about to say, because the last
It's
few days it
podcast
seems
recording.
like you pre-prepped and then it never happened. And
It's a podcast night. This is always a make sure I've got alcohol because I've got to deal with Angelo.
yeah,
Yep.
completely healthy for you.
It's perfect.
Totally.
It's fine. I don't drink that
Like
much.
it's not actually
besides
fine.
when I have to deal with it's fine.
You don't drink that much what?
Except when I have to deal with Angelo. Normally it's just
So here's the question then. What are you going to do? Because you have now mentioned it twice, so you are committing to it. What are you going to do then when you have to deal with me in 2K and other games on stream?
that's different.
That's different now.
Oh wait, no, on 2K. Like when
Yeah.
we're streaming, when we're doing
Yes.
this.
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead yet.
Oh, that's unfortunate for you.
I'll give it a chance sober, but you gotta remember I've also got to deal with Adam and Dylan. So
I think that's going to be worse.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
That'll be worse. I at least hit my shots.
Do you?
Depends on the day.
I would hope so. So let's get into the voting odds, just because I know we've got some sports bettors that like to listen to us.
Oh yeah.
So long term,
Those female sports bettors.
finals MVP voting. Nikola Jokic is negative 340 as the overall favorite to win MVP. Jimmy 430. Jamal Murray plus 1200. Bam plus 4000. Caleb Martin, 6,500. MPJ's 13,000. MPJ is rated too low. Caleb Martin's rated way too high. The favorites in the series are the Heat or the Nuggets at 460. Underdog is the Heat at 350. So if you were a betting man, Angelo, because I know you are, are you betting the farm? Like metaphorical farm. You have a farm. Are you betting the farm on this Heat team? Are you that confident?
Am I that confident? No.
That's what I thought. I'd do it on the Nugs.
You wouldn't get
Stand
much
by
on the
your
Nugs.
convictions. Stand by your convictions. I wouldn't gain much. But why wouldn't I gain much? Because they're the favorites. Because it makes sense.
What has betting on the favorites done for you this whole playoffs? Has Rehn even betted against a
Absolutely.
favorite this entire playoffs? I'm just curious.
I don't think so.
I'm just curious. I don't think so either. So Rehn wouldn't exactly be swimming in dough post this playoffs. So
Who was the higher seed? Was the? To be fair, I voted like I would have bet on the Kings to go all the way.
I'm sure you would have.
And the Cavs. That was my initial picks.
Yeah, but they both lost first round.
I know,
Nope.
but I picked them to go all the way, so everything else doesn't matter.
So he already lost the farm before the playoffs even really started, basically.
Tragic.
Very.
The farm's now owned by some guy in Iowa named Jim Bob.
So this is everyone's last chance. Are you making changes to your picks?
Have I made changes to any single pick this entire process?
No.
There's your answer.
Oh, that's fair. I'm not making any changes to mine either. Depending on game 2, I might change mine to Nugs and 4. Because if the Heat come out and try to do the exact same thing again, this is 4. They do not have an answer to stop Nikola Jokic. They just don't. What would you're Eric Spoelstra. What change are you making? What are you doing to stop Nikola Jokic? Specifically asking Angelo because he believes in the Heat.
More bad, maybe try and rotate in double teams. No.
You double team him, he's just gonna find the open man.
Maybe.
He's a 7-foot passer. He can see over you.
You can see. You're not wrong about that. But at some point you have to figure out what you want to take away. And you need to commit to that. If that's Jokic, then go for Jokic. If that's Murray, go for Murray. But you got to commit to something. You can't just let the entire Nuggets team run roughshod on you.
Hey guys, if you enjoy what we're doing here, go ahead and leave us a like. Leave us a little 4-star review. I won't say 5-star because we're not perfect, but we're pretty close.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Leave a little review. Maybe subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. It helps us, helps the algorithm, all those fun things. If you don't like us, that's fine as well. But you're still here at the end of an episode, so you had to have liked something. And join us on all the social medias. We're there on everything, except maybe TikTok.
No.
I feel like I ask that every time I do this.
We're not. We're not going to be on TikTok. You can stop saying it. You can stop second guessing it. Austin, TikTok, yes or no?
No.
Exactly.
Okay, we're not on TikTok.
Exactly.
We're on everything else though. So follow us at No Reserves Radio. Yeah, I don't know if I've got anything else tonight, guys. Do you?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Anything you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about like Celtics or anything? What you would change about them?
Do you think they move Jalen, or do you think they
I think so.
keep the two?
I think because you've got Jalen and Jason both up for contracts, $300 million apiece, $600 million across 2 players. I don't like my odds of building a quality team around that.
Oh, that's fair.
And I think that they'll do better apart from each other because I think they're too much of not necessarily the same player, but they have the same mindset. And it seems like players with the same mindset until they get older do not really thrive with those players. A good example would be like Kyrie and LeBron. Like it took a little bit for that to really click because they were so similar in their mindsets and what they wanted from that Cavs team. And I think that's the case with the Jays is once they're apart from each other, I think we'll see better basketball from both of them.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't necessarily know if I make any major changes to this team, and I don't know if I make that change immediately because you made the conference finals. Like you might want to run it back, but at the same time, you've also got to start looking towards long term. And I think by the trade deadline, if the Celtics are not the team we think they're going to be, you definitely look to moving on from Jaylen Brown.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's all I've got this week. So thanks for joining us. We will see you all next Sunday. Who knows if we'll have another bonus episode? It kind of just depends on the outcomes of things.
Yeah.
But until then, have a great rest of your week. We will see you on Sunday.